In the vast emptiness of space, the starship Aegis drifted silently through the darkness. Captain Ryan Carter stood on the bridge, staring out at the endless sea of stars. The ship was on a routine patrol mission near the edge of human territory, far from Earth and its bustling cities. The crew worked quietly, their movements precise and efficient. Everything seemed normal until the distress signal came. The sound of an alarm broke the calm. Lieutenant Megan Hayes, seated at her station, turned to face Ryan. Her voice was steady but carried a hint of urgency. "Captain, we're picking up a transmission. It's faint, but it's definitely a distress call." Ryan moved closer to her console. "Where is it coming from?" he asked, his eyes narrowing as he studied the data on the screen. "It's originating from deep in uncharted space," Megan replied. She tapped a few keys, and a map appeared, showing a distant region marked by swirling nebula and gravitational anomalies. "The coordinates are unusual. They point to a sector we've never explored before." Ryan frowned. "Uncharted space. That's odd. Who would be sending a distress signal from there?" Megan hesitated, then played the recording. At first, there was only static, but soon a voice emerged, broken and distorted. "Help. They're coming. Help us." The message repeated over and over, each time growing fainter until it dissolved into silence. The words sent a chill down Ryan's spine. He glanced at Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks, who was standing nearby. "What do you make of this, Daniel?" Daniel shrugged. "Could be a trick, or it could be real. Either way, it's risky to go chasing after it without knowing more." Security Officer Jessica Lane stepped forward. "We can't just ignore it, though. What if someone's really in trouble out there?" Ryan nodded slowly. "You're right. We can't turn our backs on a possible emergency, but we need to be careful." He turned back to Megan. "Can you clean up the signal? Maybe get more details." Megan worked quickly, adjusting the settings on her console. After a few moments, she looked up. "I managed to isolate part of the message. It mentioned something about a colony ship, the Odyssey *. That ship disappeared centuries ago during an exploration mission. If this is really them, it means they've been lost all this time." The room fell silent as the weight of her words sank in. The Odyssey * had been one of humanity's earliest attempts to explore beyond known space. Its loss was a mystery that had haunted historians for generations. Could it really still be out there? Ryan made his decision. "Set a course for the coordinates. Let's see what's waiting for us out there." As the Aegis changed direction, the crew prepared for the unknown. No one knew what they would find, or if they would return. But one thing was certain: the distress signal had awakened something inside them. Curiosity, duty, and perhaps even fear drove them forward. Whatever awaited them in the depths of space, it was clear that their journey was only beginning. The stars blurred outside the windows as the ship entered faster than light travel. For now, the crew focused on their tasks, but thoughts of the mysterious message lingered in their minds. "Help. They're coming. Help us." The words echoed like a haunting melody, reminding them of the dangers lurking in the unexplored corners of the universe. As the Aegis approached the coordinates from the distress signal, the crew began to notice strange things happening around them. The ship's sensors picked up unusual readings, gravitational shifts that didn't make sense, sudden bursts of energy in empty space, and areas where the stars seemed to disappear entirely. It was as if the very fabric of space was being twisted and torn. Captain Ryan Carter stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the view screen. "What's going on out there?" he asked aloud, though no one had an answer. Lieutenant Megan Hayes worked furiously at her station, trying to make sense of the data flooding in. "There's something ahead," she said finally. "It looks like debris. Pieces of ships, maybe, scattered over a wide area." Ryan frowned. "Can we get a closer look?" The Aegis moved cautiously forward, its engines humming softly as it navigated through the field of wreckage. As they drew nearer, The crew could see the remains of old vessels, some human, others alien. Many were scorched and broken, their hulls cracked open as if they'd been torn apart by some unimaginable force. Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks studied the scans with growing unease. "These ships are ancient," he said. "Some of them look like they've been here for centuries. Whatever happened to them must have been catastrophic." Security Officer Jessica Lane tightened her grip on the railing beside her. "Do you think this has anything to do with the distress signal?" Before anyone could respond, Megan gasped. "I'm picking up another signal. It's faint, but it's coming from a nearby planetoid. There's some kind of structure there, maybe a research outpost." Ryan nodded. "Let's check it out. But stay alert. We don't know what we're walking into." The Aegis descended toward the planetoid, which was shrouded in thick, swirling clouds. As they broke through the haze, the outline of a large structure became visible. It was a crumbling facility, its walls scarred by time and battle. Landing the ship nearby, Ryan led a small team, including Megan, Daniel, and Jessica, onto the surface. Inside the outpost, the air was cold and stale. Dust covered every surface, and the dim emergency lights flickered weakly. The place looked abandoned, but signs of a violent struggle were everywhere. Furniture was overturned, equipment smashed, and scorch marks marred the walls. Megan found a computer terminal that still had power. After a few minutes of work, she managed to access the logs. "This was a scientific research station," she explained. "They were studying alien technology, something they discovered during an excavation. But then, things went wrong." "What do you mean, things went wrong?" Ryan asked. Megan scrolled through the entries. "Listen to this. The artifact is unstable. It reacts to our presence, almost as if it's alive. We've tried to contain it, but it's too powerful. Something is coming. We can feel it." Jessica glanced around nervously. "You think whatever happened here caused all those ships out there to be destroyed?" "It's possible," Ryan said grimly, "but we need to find out more." As they ventured deeper into the facility, they came across a massive chamber. In the center stood an object unlike anything they'd ever seen. It was tall and smooth, pulsing with a faint, eerie light. Strange symbols covered its surface, glowing faintly as if alive. Daniel stepped closer, examining it carefully. "This must be the artifact they were talking about. Look at the energy readings. It's off the charts." Before anyone could say more, the artifact suddenly flared to life. A blinding flash filled the room, and a wave of energy surged outward, knocking everyone off their feet. When the light faded, the crew lay dazed on the ground, unsure of what had just happened, or what horrors might now be unleashed upon them. When the crew of the Aegis finally regained consciousness, they found themselves sprawled across the floor of the chamber. The artifact stood in the center, glowing brighter than before, its surface rippling like liquid metal. Captain Ryan Carter groaned as he pushed himself up, his head pounding from the energy surge. He looked around to check on his team. Megan, Daniel, and Jessica were slowly getting to their feet, shaken but alive. "What just happened?" Jessica asked, her voice trembling. She clutched her weapon tightly, her eyes darting toward the artifact. "I don't know," Ryan admitted, "but that thing definitely wasn't dormant." Daniel moved closer to the artifact, his engineering scanner in hand. "This is incredible and terrifying. It's generating some kind of energy field, stronger than anything I've ever seen. And it's still building." Before anyone could respond, a low hum filled the room. The sound grew louder, vibrating through the walls and into their bones. Megan pointed toward the ceiling. "Look," she shouted. Above them, the roof of the chamber began to crack and crumble. Through the gaps, they saw flashes of light, ships moving in the sky. Black, sleek vessels with sharp edges and glowing red markings hovered ominously above the planetoid. Their shapes were alien, unlike any human ships, and they radiated an aura of menace. "They're here," Megan whispered, her voice barely audible over the growing hum. Ryan grabbed his communicator. "Bridge, this is Carter. Report." Static crackled in response. He tried again, but there was no answer. The artifact's energy must have disrupted their communications. "We need to get back to the ship," Ryan ordered. "Now." The team hurried out of the chamber, their footsteps echoing through the empty halls of the outpost. As they ran, the facility seemed to come alive around them. Lights flickered erratically, and strange shadows moved along the walls. It felt as though the structure itself was watching them. When they reached the exit, their worst fears were confirmed. The Aegis was gone. In its place loomed one of the black ships, massive and intimidating. Smaller drones floated nearby, scanning the area with piercing red beams. Jessica raised her weapon. "What do we do now?" "Stay calm," Ryan said, though his own heart was racing. "We can't fight those things head-on. We'll have to find cover and figure out our next move." The group ducked behind a pile of rubble as the drones began to descend. One of them hovered closer, its beams sweeping over the area. Ryan held his breath, praying it wouldn't detect them. For several tense moments, the drone lingered, then moved on. Once it was safe to move, Ryan led the team back toward the outpost. If they couldn't reach the Aegis, their only option was to hide and survive until help arrived, or until they found a way to fight back. Inside, Megan accessed another terminal, searching for any information about the artifact or the ships outside. "There's more in these logs," she said. "The researchers believe the artifact could summon something or someone. They called it a beacon, but they didn't understand who or what it was calling." Daniel frowned. "You think those ships responded to the distress signal, or to the artifact itself?" "It doesn't matter," Ryan interrupted. "What matters is figuring out how to stop them. If we can disable the artifact, maybe we can cut off their power source." "But how?" Jessica asked. "That thing's practically indestructible." "We'll find a way," Ryan said firmly. "For now, we stick together and stay hidden. Those ships are looking for us, and we can't let them find us. Not yet." As the team huddled in the shadows, the weight of their situation settled over them. They were stranded, outnumbered, and facing an enemy they barely understood. But despite the odds, Ryan knew one thing for certain. Giving up wasn't an option. Whatever happened next, they would face it together. Back on Earth, news of the Aegis disappearance spread quickly through the United Earth Defense Council. Admiral Nathan Cole stood at the head of the emergency meeting, his face grim as he addressed the room. "We've lost contact with Captain Carter and his crew," he said, his voice steady but carrying a note of urgency. Their last known location was near uncharted space, where they were investigating a distress signal. The council members exchanged worried glances. Losing the starship was bad enough, but the mention of uncharted space made the situation even more troubling. No one knew what dangers might be lurking there, or if the Aegis had stumbled into something far bigger than anyone expected. "We can't leave them out there," Admiral Cole continued. "If they're in trouble, we need to act fast. I'm mobilizing Earth's fleet, our best ships and crews, to retrieve them and deal with whatever threat they've encountered." Among those chosen to lead the mission was Captain Olivia Drake, a seasoned officer known for her calm under pressure and sharp tactical mind. She stood aboard the flagship Eclipse overseeing final preparations. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Adam Fisher, approached her with a data pad in hand. "Admiral Cole just sent the coordinates," Adam said. "It's deep in unexplored territory. We'll be jumping blind." Olivia nodded. "I know, but we don't have a choice. If Carter's team is still alive, we need to find them, and fast." As the fleet prepared to depart, tension hung thick in the air. The ships assigned to the mission were among humanity's most advanced. Sleek, powerful warships armed with cutting-edge weapons and shielding technology. Still, no one knew what awaited them in the void. Hours later, the fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel, arriving at the designated location. What they saw made even the most experienced officers gasp. The black ships loomed above the planetoid, their jagged forms casting long shadows across the surface below. They were larger than any human vessel, their dark hulls gleaming menacingly in the dim light. "They're huge," Adam muttered, staring at the view screen. "And there are so many of them." Olivia's jaw tightened. "Stay focused. We don't know what these things are capable of, but we're not backing down." Before she could issue orders, the enemy ships began to move. One by one, they turned toward the human fleet, their red markings glowing brighter. Energy weapons charged, and bolts of light streaked through space, forcing the humans to scatter. "All ships, return fire," Olivia commanded. The battle erupted instantly. Lasers flashed, missiles launched, and explosions lit up the darkness. The human fleet fought valiantly, but it quickly became clear that the enemy was stronger and faster. Their weapons sliced through shields with ease, and their movements were almost impossible to predict. On the planetoid below, Ryan Carter and his team watched the chaos unfold from their hiding spot. The ground shook as blasts rained down from above. Megan gripped her scanner tightly, trying to make sense of the readings. "Those ships, they're drawing power from the artifact," she said. "It's like they're feeding off it." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "Then we need to destroy it. If we can cut off their power source, the fleet might stand a chance." "But how do we get close enough?" Jessica asked. "Those drones are everywhere." Ryan thought for a moment. "We'll create a distraction, draw their attention away from the outpost. Once we're inside the chamber, we'll rig explosives and take the artifact out." "It's risky," Daniel warned. "If we fail, we're dead. And so is the fleet." "I know," Ryan said firmly, "but it's the only shot we've got." The team moved quickly, setting their plan into motion. Using makeshift tools and scavenged parts, they created small devices to emit false signals, tricking the drones into chasing phantom targets. As the machine swarmed away from the outpost, Ryan led his team back toward the chamber, knowing that the fate of the fleet, and possibly Earth itself, rested on their shoulders. Above them, the battle raged on. Ships exploded, debris floated through space, and the odds seemed insurmountable. But amidst the chaos, hope flickered faintly. For now, all they could do was fight, and pray that Ryan's plan would work. The battle above the planetoid raged on, a chaotic storm of light and sound. Explosions lit up the darkness as Earth's fleet fought desperately against the overwhelming force of the black ships. Captain Olivia Drake stood firm on the bridge of the Eclipse asterisk, her eyes locked on the view screen. The enemy was relentless, their weapons cutting through human defenses with terrifying efficiency. "We're losing too many ships," Lieutenant Adam Fisher shouted over the din of alarms. "At this rate, we won't last much longer." Olivia clenched her fists. She knew he was right. The fleet was outmatched, but retreat wasn't an option. If they failed here, Earth itself could be next. Her mind raced, searching for a way to turn the tide. Then she remembered Ryan's transmission. The one that revealed the artifact was powering the enemy ships. Destroying it was their only hope. "Adam," she said sharply, "take a team to the surface. Find Carter and his crew. Help them destroy that artifact." Adam hesitated. "Captain, are you sure? The fighting down there will be just as bad." "I'm sure," Olivia replied. "If the artifact goes down, so do those ships. It's our best chance." Without another word, Adam gathered a small strike team and boarded a shuttle. As they descended toward the planetoid, the black ships opened fire, forcing the shuttle to dodge and weave through a hail of energy blasts. Finally, they touched down near the outpost, the ground trembling beneath their feet from the ongoing battle above. Inside the facility, Ryan Carter and his team were already in the chamber with the artifact. They had rigged explosives around its base, but time was running out. The drones were closing in, their red beams slicing through the air. "We need to move," Jessica Lane urged, keeping watch at the entrance. "They're almost here." "Just a few more seconds," Daniel Brooks replied, his hands flying over the detonator. "I need to make sure this thing blows properly." Suddenly, gunfire erupted outside the chamber. Adam and his team burst in, firing at the pursuing drones. "Carter," Adam yelled. "We're here to help." Ryan looked up, relief washing over him. "About time you showed up. We've got this thing ready to go, but we'll need a distraction to get clear." Adam nodded. "We'll hold them off. Get out of here." As Ryan, Megan, and Daniel sprinted toward the exit, Adam and his team formed a defensive line, laying down suppressive fire. The drones swarmed closer, their movements erratic but deadly. One by one, Adam's teammates fell until only he remained. Bleeding and exhausted, he continued firing, determined to buy Ryan's team as much time as possible. Back outside, Ryan and the others reached a safe distance. Daniel activated the detonator, and the chamber erupted in a blinding explosion. The artifact shattered, its glowing fragments scattering across the ground. Above them, the black ships faltered, their power fading as the artifact's energy dissipated. One by one, they began to retreat, disappearing into the void. Adam limped out of the facility moments later, his uniform scorched and torn. He collapsed beside Ryan, breathing heavily. "Did it work?" he asked weakly. Ryan nodded. "It worked. You saved us." High above, Olivia watched as the remaining black ships vanished. The battle was over, but the cost had been heavy. Dozens of ships lay in ruins, their crews lost. Tears welled in her eyes as she gave the order to regroup and recover survivors. Humanity had survived, but the scars would remain. For now, though, there was silence, a fragile peace after the storm. The artifact was gone, and the immediate threat had passed. But deep down, everyone knew the universe still held secrets darker than anyone could imagine. The explosion that destroyed the artifact sent a shockwave through the planetoid, shaking the ground violently. Ryan Carter and his team were thrown off their feet, shielding themselves from the debris that rained down around them. When the dust settled, they looked back at the chamber. Where the artifact once stood, there was now only a smoldering crater. "It's done," Daniel Brooks said, his voice hoarse but filled with relief. "Whatever that thing was, it's gone." Ryan nodded, though his expression remained grim. The victory felt hollow. Too many lives had been lost, both on the planetoid and in the battle above. He glanced at Adam Fisher, who was leaning against a rock, his face pale and streaked with dirt. Adam had risked everything to ensure their escape, and Ryan knew they owed him their lives. "We need to get back to the fleet," Ryan said, helping Megan Hayes to her feet. "They'll be looking for survivors." The group began making their way toward the surface, moving slowly due to their injuries. As they climbed over the rubble, the silence around them was eerie. The drones that had swarmed the outpost earlier were nowhere to be seen, as if the destruction of the artifact had rendered them useless. When they finally emerged into the open, the sight above them was both awe-inspiring and heartbreaking. Earth's fleet hung in space, battered but still intact. Many ships were damaged, their hulls scorched and pitted from the battle. Some drifted lifelessly, their crews lost forever. Despite the losses, the remaining vessels formed a protective perimeter, ensuring no enemy ships could return. A shuttle descended to pick up Ryan's team. As it landed, its ramp lowered, revealing Lieutenant Jessica Lane, who had stayed behind to coordinate rescue efforts. Her eyes widened when she saw Adam among them. "You're alive," she exclaimed, rushing forward to help him aboard. "Barely," Adam muttered with a weak smile. He collapsed onto a seat inside the shuttle, too exhausted to say more. Back aboard the Eclipse Asterisk, Captain Olivia Drake greeted the survivors with a mixture of relief and sorrow. She embraced Ryan, her voice trembling. "I thought we'd lost you," she admitted. "You don't know how close we came to failing." Ryan shook his head. We couldn't have done it without Adam and his team. They gave us the time we needed. Olivia turned to Adam, her expression softening. Thank you, she said simply. It was all that needed to be said. As the fleet prepared to leave the planetoid behind, Olivia made one final decision. She ordered the Eclipse to destroy the remains of the facility. If any trace of the artifact remained, she wasn't taking chances. With a heavy heart, she watched as missiles reduced the outpost to rubble. The journey back to Earth was somber. The crew mourned their fallen comrades, their minds replaying the horrors they had witnessed. Yet amidst the grief, there was also pride. They had faced an unimaginable threat and survived. Humanity had proven its resilience once again. Upon returning to Earth, the surviving crew members were hailed as heroes. News outlets broadcast their story across the globe, celebrating their bravery. But Ryan, Megan, Daniel, Jessica, Adam, and Olivia knew better than anyone that the victory had come at a great cost. At a ceremony held in their honor, Admiral Nathan Cole addressed the crowd. Today, we remember those who gave their lives to protect us, he said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. And we thank those who returned, carrying the weight of what they endured. You have shown us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, humanity will stand strong. As the ceremony ended, Ryan stood quietly, gazing up at the stars. The artifact was gone, but questions lingered. Who, or what, had created it? Why had it summoned Earth's ships? And most importantly, were there others like it out there? For now, peace had been restored. But deep down, Ryan knew the universe still held mysteries darker than anyone could imagine. All they could do was remain vigilant and hope they would be ready when the next threat emerged. The aftermath of the battle left Earth both shaken and strengthened. The loss of so many ships and lives weighed heavily on everyone, but the victory over the mysterious Black Fleet was a reminder of humanity's resilience. Captain Ryan Carter and his crew were celebrated as heroes, their faces appearing on news broadcasts and in public speeches. Yet despite the praise, Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that the fight wasn't truly over. In the weeks that followed, scientists worked tirelessly to study the fragments of the artifact recovered from the planetoid. The pieces were small, jagged remnants of the once massive structure, but they still pulsed faintly with energy. Dr. Laura Bennett, one of Earth's top researchers, led the team analyzing the fragments. This technology is beyond anything we've ever seen, she told Ryan during a briefing. It's not just alien, it's ancient. Whoever built this knew things we can't even begin to understand. Ryan frowned. Do you think there are more of these artifacts out there? Laura hesitated before answering. It's possible. If this was a beacon, as the logs suggested, then it might have been part of a larger network. We don't know how many others could exist, or what they might summon next. The thought sent a chill down Ryan's spine. For now, Earth was safe, but the idea of other artifacts lurking in uncharted space kept him awake at night. Admiral Nathan Cole shared his concerns. In a private meeting, Cole admitted, "We're expanding our patrols and building new ships. If another threat emerges, we need to be ready." Meanwhile, Captain Olivia Drake and Lieutenant Adam Fisher were recovering from their injuries. Olivia spent most of her time overseeing the repairs of the Eclipse, which had taken heavy damage during the battle. Adam, though still weak, helped train new recruits, sharing the lessons he'd learned during the mission. Both knew the scars, both physical and emotional, would take time to heal. Back aboard the Aegis, Ryan gathered his crew for one final debriefing before they returned to active duty. Megan Hayes, Daniel Brooks, and Jessica Lane sat around the table, their expressions a mix of pride and exhaustion. "We did what we had to do," Ryan said, breaking the silence. "But I want everyone to remember something. None of us are invincible. We got lucky this time, but luck won't always be on our side." Jessica nodded. "So what's next? Do we go back to patrol missions like nothing happened?" "For now, yes," Ryan replied. "But we'll also keep an eye out for anything unusual. If there are more artifacts out there, we need to find them before someone, or something, else does. As the days turned into weeks, life began to return to normal, or as normal as it could be after such an event. Humanity rebuilt its fleet, fortified its defenses, and prepared for whatever the future might hold. But beneath the surface, questions lingered. What had the artifact been designed to summon? Who had created it? And why? And most importantly, were the beings behind the black ships truly gone? On a quiet evening, Ryan stood on the observation deck of the Aegis asterisk, staring out at the stars. The galaxy stretched endlessly before him, vast and full of secrets. He felt a sense of awe mixed with unease. The universe was beautiful, but it was also dangerous. Somewhere out there, unseen threats waited, biding their time. For now, peace prevailed. But Ryan knew better than anyone that the universe never stayed quiet for long. All they could do was remain vigilant and hope they would be ready when the next challenge came. And so, the story ended not with certainty, but with a lingering sense of anticipation. Humanity had faced the unknown and survived, but the journey was far from over. The stars still called, promising adventure and danger at every turn.